Hi guys, so the UK government may be moving in the right direction in regards to asylum seekers crossing the English Channel. Now, many people who understand the situation have been calling for safe routes to be set up in order to both end the smuggling trade and to save lives. The French and British governments are still at the discussion stage, but it should go something like this. Asylum seekers arrive by small boat, they would be picked up and sent back to France. But those who have some family connection in the UK wouldn't have to cross the Channel, but would be safely relocated from France to Britain. Now, there are some issues with this which I'll get to in just a moment, but Richard Tice from Reform UK thinks it's a terrible idea.
Richard, will this plan that Labour is now putting before us make a difference?
Seriously? I mean, when I heard this plan, I thought it was April Fool's Day. I thought it was April the 1st. I mean, let's just work this out, shall we? So yesterday, 705 people illegally invaded the United Kingdom. And the idea is that they will be put on coaches, sent back over the Channel in a ferry or something, or on Eurostar, back to Calais, where they'll be disembarked. And then that means that 705 other asylum seekers, economic migrants, illegals, whatever you want to call them, they then have the right to come to the United Kingdom legally as an asylum seeker because they've claimed some form of association or affiliation with someone in the United Kingdom. I mean, it absolutely beggars belief that anybody serious or credible thinks that this scheme, I tell you what this will do, this will increase the power of the magnet. That's what it will do. And you will have people trading details of people in the UK who say they know X and Y. I mean, this is absolutely bonkers and should be put in the bin of madness as fast as possible.
Okay. Look, I'm not advocating for this policy. It's still not a policy at the moment. It's still at the discussion stage. I'm not advocating for it, but it's much better than what Reform UK have, because Reform UK don't have a policy. They just keep saying, what we're going to do is we're going to send people back to France. And I keep raising the point, what if France says no? So the difference between what Reform UK have, if you can call it a policy, and what this one is, it requires some sort of cooperation with France. Now, as I said, this would be taking people who arrived in the UK and then sending them back to France and then replacing them with people who have a legitimate claim. Now, there are issues with this. I'm not advocating for this whatsoever. I still think there's a much better way, which would be to create a real safe route for people to arrive. But this seems to be some halfway house. Now, will it disrupt the smuggling gangs as it's designed to do? Yes, it would, in a sense, because if somebody has a legitimate claim in the UK, they don't need to rely on the people smugglers. They can wait for the bus or the ferry or whatever to take them to the UK. So this will disrupt the smuggling gangs. Will it eliminate them? Of course not. But it would potentially, if done right, it would damage the smuggling gangs. So it would reduce the numbers of people crossing the Channel, because some people would not have to cross because they could wait for the bus or whatever. It would create this legal pathway, which is extremely important. Now, it would require greater cooperation between France and the UK. The Tories were not interested in doing really anything when it came to this. They were happy to give money to France and say, look, just patrol the border, try and stop people from crossing. But as I keep bringing up on the channel, you can't stop people who want to get to the UK. If you take them back and they only want to get to the UK, then they're going to look for the next dinghy. So there's no way to stop them. Is it going to work? I don't know. I think there are some serious problems. For example, if somebody arrives in the UK, they should, under UN conventions, be allowed to claim asylum there. So it could break some conventions, picking people up and taking them back to France, even if France agrees to take them back. This could be I'm not a legal expert. I'm not an immigration or asylum or human rights expert, but I get the impression that it could be in breach of UN conventions because people should be able to make a claim in the UK. You would be instead forcing them back to France, and in some cases making a claim in France. Is that how it would work? How do you determine whether somebody has connections in the UK or not? So I don't want to give any credit to Richard Tice here, but he did raise a point that could be an issue. What if people just exchange information, say, yeah, I have an uncle in the UK, when in reality you don't, or somebody pretends to be providing a connection for somebody who's currently in France and wants to get to the UK. So there is the issue of perhaps abuse. But what is the alternative? I think we should have safe routes around Europe for allowing people to get to the UK. People shouldn't have to cross a channel. We keep hearing about politicians saying this is a bad thing. We want to save lives. Even Reform UK claim this as well, but they don't have a plan. There is nothing on the table from Reform apart from, well, let's force people back to France. But once again, if France says no, then you can't bring these people back in. And you can't dump people on the beach. Some people from Reform want to do that, or ex-people from Reform want to do that. That's a non-starter. What you need to do is you need to create a safe route, or you need to provide a means for people to claim asylum in France, which would be processed in France and allow them safe passage to the UK. If you want to destroy the people smuggling gangs, well, you need to take away their business model. And just talking about deterrence is not going to work. I don't know if this would be successful. At the moment, it's just in the discussion stage, and we'll have to wait and see. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.